Hi, my name's Mike. This is Jerry, and we're going to be installing a CrystaLite Sunroom today with a 4843 lid. During fabrication, the entire system will be assembled and disassembled before shipping. This will ensure a smooth installation in the field. Before the sunroom is installed, make sure the area is clean, fully framed, and any required weather barrier is applied. The first step is to install the sill pan. The sill pan has a welded corner and overlapping joints. The sill pan is drilled and riveted as well as wet sealed along the overlap. Next, we'll place the sill on the sill pan. Next, we'll fasten down the sill with number 12 1.5" hex head tech screws. Next, we'll work on the vertical members. We'll start with the jamb and put the rafters in as we work our way around the corner. Before placing any of the vertical members, use the shop drawings to help identify any of the unique verticals, like the jamb or the corner. Rafters can typically be installed in any location. However, when a unique feature such as an awning window is involved, the muntins as well as the rafters will be labeled to help identify the proper location of that feature. Pro tip, stage your fasteners before installing the vertical members. As Jerry places the vertical member, we're going to finger tighten the fasteners. While placing the verticals, include any muntins required. Make sure to refer to your shop drawings to have proper orientation. We're just going to slide these on for now. Here we're at the corner. It can only go in one way. Thank you, Jerry. Again, we're just finger tightening these. At this point, we're going to fasten everything down. The jamb and the corners will use a threaded fitting, while the rafters will use a through bolt design. Next, we'll use the number 12 by 3/4 fastener. We'll use the same fasteners to secure the muntin. Next, we'll place the jamb, sliding the anchors into the verticals. To secure the corner to the jamb, we'll use the supplied flathead square drive fasteners into the recessed holes. To attach the rafters to the jamb, we'll use button head fasteners. Next, we'll place the head on the vertical members, sliding the anchors into the rafters. Like the sill, the head will be fastened to the corners in the jambs with a threaded fitting and a through bolt design on the rafters. Next, we'll place and clamp down the horizontal head members. Next, we're going to secure the horizontal member to the head using 2 fasteners on each side. We're going to pre-drill holes, marking them about 3 inches from the rafter. Next, we'll install the sill snap cover, making sure to line up this back ridge with this line across here. Next, you want to find the roll of pushing gasket. You want to install the verticals first. This is cut in the field, top to bottom. Then after that, you'll do the 2 horizontals across the top and 1 across the bottom. That'll be on each of the windows. We're gonna use our 1/8 by 3/4 glazing tape. We're gonna go down this edge, and down here as well. We're going to run one more right down the middle here. Next, we're going to install this foam board. We're going to dog ear the glazing tape that we just put on. This way we can move this before we pull these down and ensure a good. Same thing on this board. Now we're going to put in the glass blocks. We got 2 for each window. At this point, we're ready to put the glass in. We'll start by putting this large piece in. We'll put the other one on here. I'll hold them while my partner brings over one of the pressure bar pieces, and we'll fasten it down with these number 12 by 2 1/4 fasteners. All right. Now that our glass is up, we're going to put the pressure bars on. We're going to install them a little higher than they need to be. That'll give us room to put our wedge down between the glass with a liberal amount of glass cleaner. We're going to put the corner flashing on now. We left this loose so we can slide this behind here. When installing the awning window, we're going to make sure to put down 1/8" glass blocks on the inside here. You're going to make sure the handle is on the inside and the weep holes are on the bottom. Okay. I wanted to stop and show you a piece of the rafter that we have back behind here. This screw chase runs the entire length of the rafter. This is the screw chase that these fasteners that we're putting through the pressure bar are mounting into. They're mounting right into this chase here. That allows us to be able to kind of put these fasteners wherever we need them to be. And then when we need to move this bar, we can loosen them up, move the pressure bar down, and fasten them back down again.
Yeah.
This is the wedge. The wedge is going to help create a seal along the sill here. To get it in there, it's going to be pretty difficult, so we're going to have to lube it up with glass cleaner quite a bit. And it's going to run the entire length of the sill and all around the corner to the other side. I didn't really push the corner in too much there. Oh, it popped out. Each of the jam flashings is going to be a little long and will need to be cut in the field. Jerry's going to line it up here and make a mark. These will be cut in the field, pressure bar will be removed, flashing installed, and the pressure bar installed in the proper place.
Mike, you could probably just line me up in the bottom.
Maybe up a little bit. There we go. As you come around to the last piece of pressure bar, we're going to need to put a piece of back rod in to cover this gap here. And you're actually going to need to notch this out to clear the fin on the end of the sill plate. That way we can get the flashing behind the pressure bar here. Now that we're done with the notch on the bottom, we're going to mark and trim the top. Now that our flashing's trimmed, we're going to apply the last pressure bar. At this point, we're going to apply all the Muntin pressure caps. We only have one on this application. Just want to make sure to make it's lined up in the middle here. Next, we will put the pressure bar on the top of the side in the same way as the rest. Be sure to center the pressure bar left and right, which will leave a small gap on either side. Note that the mitered corners will not meet here, but will be all enclosed when the snap cap goes on. At this point, we're going to want to place some of our snap caps. This one we're going to do first because the lid will overlap this and it's going to be much easier to get this done now. Line these out. Can you hold that, please? Okay, now the vertical. When you're putting these on, try not to hammer in the middle also. You want to hit on the ends. At this point, we're going to place the lid. Make sure you have enough help to get it on there safely. Guys? We can use these clamps to help secure it down. You got that?
Yeah.
At this point, we want to attach our head ledger to the wall. We want to drill and countersink all the holes and use flat head fasteners. This will provide a flat surface for the flashing to lay on. Now we're going to attach the bottom ledger to the top of the vertical wall. We're going to want to mark 6 inches out from the center of the rafter, 2 on either side. We're going to use our button head fastener with our snap cap washer setup. We'll put the snap cap on after we fasten these down. Now we're basically going to do the same thing down the jamb. We're going to make a mark 6 inches down from the drip leg and 1.5 inches in, and then 1 each foot as we go down. Now with the lid securely fastened, we're going to mount this spacer piece. We have glazing tape on here. This is going to help hold it temporarily while we put the pressure bar on. It helps if you dogleg the corner, just like we did earlier on the corner pieces. Okay, now we'll put the pressure bar on to lock it all in place. Now we put on the snap cap. It's good to see if you can hook it up under the ledge here. Make it a little easier for you. Are you good on your side?
Good.
Okay, it's time to glaze our glass down now. You can use our 1/8 by 3/4 inch glazing tape. We're gonna go around each of these areas, both sides of the rafters, around everywhere where the glass is gonna lay down. Now that we have all our glazing tape on, we're going to put the glass on. We're going to use our tip from earlier. We're going to dog ear the corners here. We're going to do that on all the corners. And we're going to spray them with a little glass cleaner. This will give us more time to set the glass, and then we'll peel these out from underneath.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Okay, slide it that way. You're good.
Okay. Now we're going to do the opener. We're just going to glaze it in just like a piece of glass. Got it there?
Yep. Okay, peel it.
When installing these pieces of glass, we also have these 1/8 inch glass blocks.
Rotate it down on you.
It's been a few days, and now we're gonna work on getting the flashing and the pressure bars down. It's a good idea to clean the glass to make sure we get all the dust off to help with adhesion. I'm gonna start by putting this glazing tape down the jamb here. Okay, we're gonna put the tape down this jamb edge here, but we're gonna put the cap on so we know where to end the tape. So the cap is just gonna sit here. I'm gonna mark it like so. And then we're going to keep the tape about 1/8 of an inch away from our line. Can you borrow that knife of yours, Chris? Okay, the next step is to put on the jamb flashing. These come a little bit long, they'll need to be trimmed in the field. We're gonna line it up there, get it all up against the wall. We want this to hang out over the frame a little bit so the water has a place to run off. And we're gonna mark it about a ½ inch away from the frame here. You can see right here, mark it, we're gonna cut it there. We're also, and you don't have to do this, we're gonna notch the back here. And we're gonna cut it about 1 inch down here and about 1 inch this way and take off this piece here. Okay, we got our piece back. It's been notched out nicely. Got the inch down here. Split the difference. And we're gonna put this piece on now. We're gonna start by getting this up against the wall as flat as possible first. Sliding it down. I wanna make sure this is nice and tight against this here. Looks like we're good. Start peeling the tape out. Okay, the next step is to put the head flashing down. This piece is gonna sit underneath the lip of the opener here. And we're gonna need to make sure it's right in the middle. Before we put it down, we're gonna put some silicone down across the lip on the top. We're gonna peel this tape back and hit it with a little bit of this window cleaner. You can use water. And that's just to slow down the sticking. Okay, the next step is we're going to put this backer rod in here, between the glass and the opener. This is going to give us a nice surface to put the silicone on. Using a plastic tool here, some people use a putty knife, but you got to be careful. You don't want to scratch or break the glass. Okay, now that we got the backer rod in, it's going to create a nice place for us to put the silicone without it kind of falling in there. We're also going to put it across the glass, on the seal, and in this joint here where the opener meets the frame. It's important that we get it in there, and also a little bit on either side here to protect it, just in case for some reason these channels overflow. Okay, I'm going to put the flat bar on now. Should we center it here? Okay, the next step is to put the head flashing on. You might have a couple pieces, depending on how long your sunroom is. You'll want to lay them up here so we know which one goes where. There is an order. And we can tell this is the right piece also because of the way it overlaps the pieces of glass here. Should look about like this at the top. So before we put that on, we'll need to put some silicone down. We're going to put it across the glass, up this lip here, put some in the corner, and then go up the wall there a little bit. I'll do that now. Okay, now we got to move on to our second flashing piece. I'm going to line it up here just to make sure it's the right size. I'm going to line it up with the edge of the frame there. I'm going to mark it here so I know where it is. Down. And it's gonna overlap this other piece here, so you'll wanna make sure you put enough silicone on this area where it overlaps. I'm also gonna run it across the glass and across the lip here. Okay, I'm about to put this on, but I wanted to point out that on the face of this piece of flashing here, I made a square out of the silicone. I did one on the bottom here as well. That's just going to help with the adhesion. I'm going to test fit it, make sure it fits first. We look great, that's good. Pull this off. I'm going to put silicone across this lip here, over the glass, up across the bottom, down both sides. And also, I'm going to create a square of silicone on the face of this flashing material as well. Okay, we got it all silicone. We're going to lay our piece down. Next step is to put our weep hole covers on. Just want to make sure we line these up over the weep hole. We'll remove the tape, and this top lip here, or edge, will line up with the edge of the frame here. Okay, the next step is to put on our perimeter cap. It's best if you can start with the outside. That way you'll have a little bit of room in case you need it on the inside. These perimeter caps are also pre-taped, so we're going to peel back a little bit of this tape here. We got her on there. Stick her down. Okay, the next step we're going to do is put this back rod in between the pieces of glass. You'll do this at each rafter, and this is going to provide a place for the silicone to sit down in here. Silicone in here. Okay, now we're going to put on the second piece of our perimeter cap. We're going to peel it back like we did before, make it a little easier and we can set it. This is going to butt right up against the other piece there. Okay, we're gonna put the final piece of our perimeter cap on. An item to note is that when we put this cap here, we make sure to get it underneath the jam flashing, and this is to allow the water to escape over the top of the cap. I'm going to put a little bit of silicone in this crack here that we have left over where the two pieces meet, below the tape. Okay, now we're going to put the pressure bars on, but before we do that, we're going to put a little bit of silicone up in this crack. We actually, you remember, put some back behind here. Now we want to put it under here. And we're also going to run a little bit down the seam here, just like we did before on the front. Notice the bottom, we have it held back. And this is a space for the perimeter cap. It's going to sit over that. Okay, so now we're going to put the fasteners into the pressure bar, and we're going to put some silicone underneath them. I just went ahead and sat them in here to help us do this. So now that we got it all down and we got the silicone on, we're going to fasten these down. We're going to make sure we're on a low torque setting, this pressure sensitive tape. So we want to seal this down, but we don't want to break the glass. During the last few steps, we lost the audio, so I'm going to go over what we just did. When installing the snap cap, you want to identify which snap caps go where. They can be varying lengths. On ours, we have two of this size and one longer in length. You'll also want to know which end is down. The down end will be bent over. Two tips when putting them on too is you want to put a mountain of silicone in the middle. That will keep this from shifting over time. The other thing that you might want to keep in mind is having it hook over one side first and hammering down at the other end with a mallet. Being careful not to hammer in the middle. If you hammer in the middle, you may damage the cap. You'll want to do that for each of the rafters, including the one in the jam. To finish installation of the cap, we'll need to drill and install rivets. You don't want the rivets any more than a foot apart. You'll need to avoid the weep hole covers, and you'll want to refer to your shop drawings to know how far down the hole goes. In this case, it's 1 7/8 inches. And before you drill that hole, it's also a good idea to compress the cap to help ensure a nice fit. After your caps are installed, you'll want to put a bead of silicone across the lower lip here and about 6 inches up either end. This will create a secondary seal and allow the water to shed off the glass. Okay, now it's time to put the backer rod in. We're just going to push this in here. Sometimes it's good to have a nice tool with you. And after we finish installing this, we're going to put silicone over the top. We're going to do backer rod here as well, up the jam. And we'll finish this off with silicone as well. Okay, put backer rod up here too as well on this jam. silicone as well, just as before. The next step is installing the lid onto the opener here. There's a channel on this lip that you're going to need to get into this channel back here. You need to open it a little more than 90 degrees. I'm going to hook on here. Like so. Now that the lid's installed, we'll want to extend the chain out a little bit. I'm using the eyelet here to help us move it. Once it's out of an inch or so, you can use the pin that came with it to install this, and you can see that this is off of the chain here. And we're good. We'll spin it here, just make sure it's working. There we go. Thank you for watching our CrystaLite instructional video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out.